My name's Justin, Mountain Valley Roofing. This is May 2nd. It's about 83, 84 degrees out. Pretty hot, especially on a roof. I'm sure it's much warmer up here. I'm going to do a repairability test here. These shingles are roughly 16, 17 years old. Typically, repairs aren't successful in the short run, especially in the long run, but even in the short run at this age. But we're going to use a tool from Bully Bag. It's called a sidebar. It's designed for detaching shingles and siding. See, it has the nail remover here. This is made to slide underneath the shingles, and then the hook loop to hook the nails and pull out. And of course, this is for popping siding loose. But we'll be using the roofing part today. We don't use the roof snake because it's designed for 3-tab shingles. You can go to the specs on that tool and it'll tell you it's designed for 3-tab shingles. There's some other issues we've had in the past. We did use roof snake for a while, and after some months passed, we went back to check up on a few of those jobs, and there was actually some damage where part of that roof snake impacts the shingle whenever you're driving the nail down flush. That's if you can get the nail flush, and of course the nail has to be driven perpendicular and flush. It can't be at an angle or anything like that. So it's that tool was a good idea in theory. It just isn't really applicable, especially on an architectural shingle. Maybe you can get away with it on a 3-tab, but so we use the tried and true method that has been used for decades now. But we're gonna give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, this is the shingle that we're going to repair here. You can see it has a crease across there. So of course, not only the nails that are in this shingle, which are underneath the upper shingle, have to come loose, but also the nails that are underneath this upper course have to come loose also, because they are through the top of this shingle. So I'll demonstrate that here. First, we need to break our shingles loose. This upper one will have to be broken loose so that we can access the nails underneath here. So typically I start from one side and work my way. It actually has pretty good adhesion, and you can see here the adhesion there is so good, even in the corner, that it's beginning to rip through, and we don't want any mat transfer. That's damage. We don't want to cause any further damage here. Let's see, we have some mat transfer already. See the mat transfer there. Just pulled a chunk of the upper shingle is still attached to the lower shingle. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one loose because it has to be done this way to replace the shingle. I apologize for all the shakiness. The roof is a little too steep to have see right here, it's starting to pull through. See right there. And you have to, broke through there. You have to apply pressure to get through this sealant. Tearing right there. Okay. Oh, come through there. It is just impossible. Been doing this for about 20 years, and some roofs are very repairable, especially if they're 10 years old or less. When you get much past 10 years, it becomes sketchy. But there are some that are, 13, 14 years old that are repairable. And they may not be long term, and we usually label those as temporary repairs. We can't warranty, a repair on a roof that's 12, 13, 14 years old. We can't. The manipulation to the shingles around the damaged shingles are such that, it's just too much of a risk to damage additional shingles, all the peripheral shingles. So this is about all that we can do here for this one. And on this slope alone, there are at least 8 that are like this. I just don't see that it's reasonable to try to repair anything here. There's hail as well, but even just to speak of the wind on this one slope alone, there's a lot, and you can tell as we go over the top here. This is kind of an overview of the roof. Do a little panoramic view here. This area that I have marked off here, the lower areas, both the fronts and the back here, are pretty heavily damaged. You'll see in the photos they're damaged pretty heavily, and I'm certain that even if this was the only areas that were repaired, they run underneath the shingles here. And building code says that we have to overlap our valley liners by at least 6 to 8 inches, which means that the liners themselves have to be replaced. So once you pull up the shingles off the liners, you're going to have nail holes in the liners, which means at least this many shingles up each side of the valley have to be replaced in order to replace the liners, and then shingles woven back in here. So just to kind of give you a little heads up, and just in case the photos weren't clear enough too, there's some wind damage to the chimney rain cap here. I don't know if you can see, but it has actually blown off of its hinges, or off of its little snaps there. So that has happened too. I didn't notice it last time I was here, so it's possible that it could have been, subsequent from the storms that came through here. Lots of these houses had damage, and some have been replaced, some are pending replacement still. But we've had a lot of high winds over the past year, and a good bit of hail. Most of the hail is smaller, but nevertheless, a heavy, small hailstorm is going to displace lots of granules from the roof, which the two definitions of damage is decreasing the lifespan of the product and impeding the water shedding capabilities of the shingle. So if you have granule loss, due to wind or hail, you've effectively damaged the shingle. Its lifespan is going to be reduced because it doesn't have the protection of those granules anymore, or less of the granules. And of course, lots of these shingles too. This may be an example here. I don't remember. This may just be a crease. I think this is just a crease here. Yeah, you can see that because the color of these, it's very hard to see creases in these shingles unless you're just right up close. You get right up close, you can see. And then of course, as you back up, you can see the crease pattern of the shingle there. But when you lift up the shingle, as if this was, yeah, this is it. So that nail there has actually been pulled through. If I can show you that. See, wind has gotten this shingle, creased it, pulled the nail through. I've got just one marked here, but a lot of these, they're going to be more than one because of the peripheral damages that you can't see unless you actually raise the shingle and look underneath it and look underneath the surrounding shingles. And I didn't do that everywhere. This is just a sampling, and some places I even missed here, and I ran out of chalk. But there's a couple of those. I did try to take pictures of those as well. But hope this helps. If there's anything else I can get for you, let me know. Thanks.